Highclere Thoroughbred Racing is one of the original and best ownership syndicates in the sport. Petrushka, Motivator, Harbinger and Memory are just some of the stars who they've owned and managed over the years. Their members are treated like royalty, which means that a morning with them starts off here at the plush Jockey Club rooms in Newmarket. Highclere have their horses based with around 20 trainers worldwide and host owners' mornings every few weeks. This one took in several of the biggest yards in Newmarket, starting off with a visit to classic winning trainer Ed Dunlop's Lagrange stables, home to Group 1 winner Red Caddo and plenty of other stars down the years. Ed currently has 2 horses for Highclere, including the useful handicapper Auction, who allowed his enthusiastic owners into his stable for a proper meeting. The boss himself was soon on hand to show us around, and we watched second lot in the walking ring, where Ed explained a few tricks of the trade to the members, before telling us about his involvement with Highclere, which is now a well-established one.
I've been very lucky enough to train for them for a few years, had some success, no champions, but no, they're a great team to train for.
One of Highclere's promises is that each member will be treated as if they own the horse outright, and Ed feels that this is part of the club's appeal.
I think everyone is made to feel that they own their own horse. They're not just a shareholder, whether it's a 10th or a 20th or whatever it is, and I think that's how they're good they are. Obviously with modern technology now they get videos, photographs of the horses, etc, etc. So, you know, we're lucky as trainers, we pass on as much information to the management and then the management passes it on to the owners. So yeah, no, I believe they do an amazing job and look after everyone. No, I would highly recommend people having horses with them.
After watching Auction strut his stuff on the gallops, Ed pointed out a couple of other members of his string, including His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum's promising stayer, Mubaraza. Many of Highclere's owners have been with them for some time, including Christopher Holdsworth Hunt, who has been involved with the club for 12 years.
I was introduced by a friend of mine, and I've always been interested in racing, and this seemed a very nice way of doing it. But if you buy one horse for an awful lot of money, it's a big risk. But here you can have 4, 5, 6 horses with a much smaller outlay, and it's great fun.
A regular on the stable tours, Christopher says that it all still comes second to the thrill of the track.
I think going racing is the exciting part of it. This is fun, but there's nothing more exciting than actually being there when your horse wins. So I think going racing is the most exciting bit, definitely.
Christopher has a share in Ripon Maiden winner Satellite, and the 3-year-old was very much the centre of attention when we moved on to the yard of William Haggis. William currently has 11 Highclere horses in his care, and his winners in the pale blue silks include Royal Ascot scorer Approve and Lingfield Oaks trial winner Vow. He showed the group some of his well-bred 2-year-olds, which sounded like a who's who of top stallions.
That's a Ifrat, cost $500,000. That's a Dan Silly, homebred, a Master Craftsman, Naif, Dubawi, Aklan.
We followed the Haggis string to Warren Hill, where he told us about his long association with Highclere.
I started with Highclere in 1992 when they started, so I've been on the roster of trainers all that time. Yeah, it's been great. It's a well-oiled machine now. They're very straightforward to train for. They buy nice horses. They're uncomplicated in that we are allowed to get on and do it ourselves. They have a great swathe of different people from all walks of life who own shares in syndicates, and some branch off to own horses in their own right, and others just love the deal. So it's the Rolls-Royce of syndication.
William was keen to point out the social aspect of the club, which has between 10 and 20 members for its flat syndicates and up to 30 for national hunt.
I think they like the whole scenario here. We have dinner in the rooms the night before and then come out early in the morning. They complain a bit about getting up early. But you know, when the weather's nice and the sort of excitement at this time of year, sort of end of April. It's fever pitch with the Guineas approaching, and I think everyone's really looking forward to it.
Having trained for Highclere for such a long time, picking out a highlight isn't easy for the Derby winning trainer.
Well, we've had a few useful horses. We had Collection, was a very good horse, won at Royal Ascot, and we unfortunately sold him. Brunel won the German 2000 Guineas. We all had a marvellous day in Cologne. It's quite a long time ago now. And recently we had Conquest, who won a few group races, won the Gimcrack and won the Stewards Cup at 1,000 to 1 or whatever he was. And a couple of years ago we had Approve, who won the Norfolk and the Gimcrack as well, and is now a first season stallion doing okay.
While taking in the equine hubbub of Warren Hill, we caught up with Anne Bonas, whose time with Highclere has taken her overseas.
I belong to the Royal Ascot Racing Club, and then quite a few people also in Highclere, so you got introduced and went along. And I suppose I've been in Highclere about 5 or 6 years. Had some lovely times, lovely racing opportunities. Was in a horse called Rose Blossom Syndicate. We went to the ARC meeting with her for the Prix de l'Abbé. Then we went to Baden-Baden with her, and one of the fellow co-owners in the syndicate was Sir Alex Ferguson, which was quite fun to meet him. And as far as Highclere is concerned, it's always very professionally done. All the staff, like Alison and Alex, they all know their horses and they know you. It's very friendly atmosphere. Have met some lovely, interesting people from all over the country. And yes, anyone wishing to partake, I'd say you have a really good time.
Highclere's trainers in Newmarket also include Sir Michael Stout, John Gosden, Marco Botti, Michael Bell and Roger Varian, who brought his family along to meet the members. Highclere's aim is to make racehorse ownership affordable, but without compromising on quality, as founder and manager Harry Herbert explains.
I've been working in America, and I'd seen what they call limited partnerships over there, and I thought that's really interesting because that hasn't been done at home. Syndicates, it hasn't been done well. It hadn't been done in an organised way where you felt that you could give people an opportunity to own horses, get all the fun and the buzz as if you own them yourself, but actually, of course, doing it at a fraction of the price. So I came back from America in sort of 1990 or thereabouts and started Highclere in 1992.
And since then you've had a lot of success. What have been the highlights for you?
Oh goodness, we've had some amazing times. I mean, our first crop of horses, you looked at the 5 yearlings walking around at Highclere Stud and you're thinking, oh please let one of them be half decent and win a race. And one of the 5 was none other than Lake Coniston, who was one of the fastest sprinters seen in Europe for many years, was the European champion sprinter, won the July Cup. So we had a Group 1 winner in our first group of horses. Another group horse called Summit that Richard Hannon trained. And then everyone said, oh, you're never going to have another horse like that, and used up all your luck too soon. And we then got Tamarisk, another champion sprinter, and then of course it went on from there with recently Harbinger and Petrushka, 7 European champions and a world champion. So we've been very fortunate.
And Harbinger is drawing right away. He's going to win by a street. Harbinger wins the King George by the best part of 10 lengths.
Perhaps the best known Highclere star to date is Harbinger, blistering winner of the 2010 King George at Ascot, before being sold on to Japan in a multi-million-dollar deal. His Ascot wins, after which he was rated the best horse in the world, are a fond memory for Harry.
One of the absolute highlights. He was a very special horse, a lovely group of owners, and that day at Ascot, King George Day, was one of the most extraordinary races and moments that we all know, well, anyone could have in racing. You dream of winning races like the King George when you're a little boy, and then suddenly you have a horse that wins it by 11 lengths and knocks half a second off the track record, and beats 2 Derby winners and a horse that goes on, a Derby winner that goes on to win the Arc. So it was a very special moment. Tragically, of course, he never ran again. He had an injury. But other great moments, a motivator for the Royal Ascot Racing Club winning the Derby, and as I say, these other great horses bought by my brother-in-law, John Warren, who's got this incredible gift, which we're exploiting to the full.
And just explain a bit how it works, because the owners buy into 2 horses, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a numbers game, as we know, and I've always thought that rather have 2 than 1. So that most of our syndicates are 2-horse syndicates. The horses average anywhere between 80 and 150,000, depending on the style of syndicate. Most syndicates are 20 shares with owners from all over the world. So when they come racing, you never get a massive group, but you're treated as though, as I said earlier, you own the horse outright. You have the stable visits, as you've seen. You do, when you go racing, you have owners' badges for you. And if you owned your own horse, let's say, the average at the moment would be, from book 2 of Tats, would be about £50,000-60,000 to buy that horse, and then you spend £30,000 a year having that average horse trained. Well, you might have blown £100,000 in a couple of years. This way, you've got, maybe you spent £17,000 and you've had 200,000 guinea yearlings in your stable, and you're getting all the benefits with a fraction of the cost. So it's very simple, the whole thing, but there are parts of it which sort of stand out from I think, that have made our deal work particularly well. John Warren buying the horses, the management side, communication side, wherever you live in the world, we want you to feel that you're literally, next door to the horse. So with the modern technology, with emails and photographs and DVDs, all these sorts of things, you can really make people feel totally involved. And that's as important as anything. Of course, winning the races is key, but at the end of the day, you've got to get all the other parts of it that are so much fun.
The operation is not merely confined to Great Britain, and Highclere also have horses in France, as well as a relatively new Australian syndicate, where horses are based with Gay Waterhouse and Chris Waller.
We started in France now. We've got only a little bit. We've got a couple of horses there, but one very good filly called Whim, who won on her second start last year with Freddie Head and goes for a listed race next time up, which is exciting. We've got a horse with Mikel Desangles, and that's fun for folks to have a horse in a different country. And yes, in Australia, we sent a Pinion down there who won the Duke of Edinburgh last year at Royal Ascot, and he's accumulated about 350,000 Aussie dollars in his first season down there, and is now heading towards the Melbourne Cup. And we've got a couple of horses in a different style of syndicate, where the horses start here in the UK and then they head down to Australia at the beginning of their 4-year-old campaign. So there's lots to look forward to, and I think variety is the key. We want to offer our owners different syndicates, different prices, it's like a menu, if you like, in a restaurant. You want to see something that catches your eye and think, oh, that's a bit different. And that's the purpose of having horses trained abroad as well as in the UK.
The club is tinged with celebrity, with actors Hugh Bonneville and Elizabeth Hurley among their members. We saw Hugh Bonneville at Sandown the other week. He absolutely loves it.
He loves it. He's great, Hugh, and exactly the sort of success of Downton and all of that is a sort of fun association, and he's become a good friend. And I think I'd say pretty much every celebrity we've had, whether it's Elizabeth Hurley and Sir Alex Ferguson, Lawrence Delalio, goodness, there's been, Denise Lewis, the great Olympian, quite a number, and they've all really, really enjoyed it and gone on and, invested in other syndicates, however successful the first one has been. And I think that's a really fun sign. But, it's at the end of the day, they're in it to enjoy it, just like anyone is, and it's fun to see them on a race course and getting involved in racing, and hopefully their involvement will encourage other people into the syndicates and people who are into racing who wouldn't otherwise have thought about it.
And might we ever see Highclere Dubai, do you think?
Oh, I hope so. I've had the discussions over the years, bit by bit. I think, I think there's possibly an opportunity to do the same as the Ashes Syndicate, but with Dubai, where we might buy a group of horses, 2, 3 or 4 horses, and start them here, and then those that are appropriate and high enough rated to send them off, to Dubai for maybe when they're 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds. So we can do all of that. We have Dubai owners already who love our syndicates, and I think it's just something to we'd love to encourage more people to come and get involved from Dubai in the syndicates here in the UK, and if enough of get involved, then of course we can start thinking of other plans and getting horses back to Dubai to race.
So you heard it here first. Highclere Dubai could soon be coming our way. But in the meantime, we can enjoy watching their famous sky blue silks racing to success the world over.